We're here in Shawville, Quebec today, on the hunt for the famous Dagg poltergeist farmhouse. 125 years ago, this farmhouse was the home and sighting of one of the strangest poltergeists in Canadian history. For over 3 months, the farmhouse of George Dagg and his family was terrorized. And what makes the case very unique was that 16 farmers from the surrounding area at the time gave sworn testimony that they had seen and witnessed the events on the farmhouse, including hear the demonic voice speak. Now, we've come here today to talk to a few locals to get to the heart of this mystery and also to get to the heart of where this farmhouse is, which is located about 7 miles outside of the city. Our first stop was Shawville's Pontiac archives to visit local historian and author VENETIA CRAWFORD about the factors that turned this case into such a local legend. The archives have a large file on the Dagg haunting, and Crawford spoke about the ghost's unique personality and abilities, which included taking on different voices and different forms.
This ghost is unique because she's the only ghost that we know that actually talks to people, and talks in many voices, sometimes as a man and sometimes as a woman, sometimes as an angel, sometimes as a, if I'm looking at this picture, it looks like a cow. Got horns and feet of a cow. I guess he's supposed to be the devil.
Our second stop was nearby Coronation Hall Cider Mills in Bristol, where we interviewed amateur historian and playwright Greg Graham, who says that much of the ghost story revolves around an adopted orphan named Dinah and a Brockville reporter named Percy Woodcock who covered the story.
So Percy Woodcock arrived, and one of the first things he did is he asked Dinah if he could meet the ghost, and she said sure. Said he's out in a shed out back, and she took him to a shed behind the house, and she said, "Are you there, mister?" No response. "Are you there, mister?" Finally, on the third time, "Are you there, mister?" And Percy Woodcock was starting to doubt the story, and all of a sudden, heard a deep, gravelly voice, "I am here." And Woodcock was saying, "What? Who is this? Who are you?" And says, "I am the devil, Woodcock, and you get out of this or I'll wring your neck." It finally came to a conclusion. The ghost agreed that he would leave and leave them alone. And while the crowd were singing hymns, the voice suddenly changed its timbre. It became a beautiful, melodious voice. It sang along with the hymns. And Mary and Johnny said that instead of the man with the cow's head, they saw a man who looked like an angel with stars around his head, singing, and then disappeared. Armed with the rough location of the house provided by Graham and his father, we were finally ready to hunt down the site of this famous haunting. Good luck. If you end up at at Trout Lake, you've gone too far.
Right. Well, and if we don't come back, you'll know you sent us there, right?
That's it. I'll tell the police where to start looking for you anyways.
After a search along some gravelly roads, we finally reached the old white farmhouse where the Dagg poltergeist is thought to have played its many tricks. Some Dagg family stories talk of a young daughter that may have been born and died under mysterious circumstances some years after the end of the famous haunting.
Like from here, and they would sit in there, and they said they would just kind of see this, like a girl of about, looked to be maybe 3 or 4, and like a white sheet over top of her.
Some rumors blamed her death on the lingering presence of something sinister. According to the current residents, she too may still be clinging to the farmhouse.
We would hear stuff running in the ceiling, and it's like, okay, well, is it a squirrel? Doesn't sound like a squirrel. Is it a mouse? No, it doesn't sound like a mouse, because all of a sudden you'd hear, it just sound like, if it was a mouse, it would sound like it was a mouse Olympics or something going on, because there's so much noise. We're sitting there and they're like, okay, do we really have to rip the ceiling open just to see? And then we're like, if we do rip the ceiling open and we don't see anything, then what are we gonna think, right?
125 years later, is the Dagg spirit gone for good, as some people claim? Or are the disturbances described by the current owners a sign that the poltergeist lingers on in some form, perhaps ready to fully return to speak his otherworldly voice again?